we're going in. We're going in, we're going in, we're going in. Tell my followers I'm going in. We're going back, going in. Hey, we were just cooking. 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 Hey, where's Spidey? Spidey, come back. Spidey was cooking, man. Spidey was cooking. Let's get Spidey back in. Let's get Black Spider-Man back in. Black Spider, let's get you back in. He was cooking. Spidey.
What's up, man?
Spidey, let me give you, you know what? Let me give you your own screen for the second, man. Let me give you your own screen. I think you deserve your own screen. You was definitely, I think you deserve your own screen because you was coming with some real, man. And I think you need to have a second to kind of, you know.
Thanks, man.
You're my guest and we appreciate you. So let's just get you going a little bit, going on and yeah, go on.
All right.
So yeah, and there's Arnie. I see a couple people that want to come in, so I'm gonna let them come in. But just carry on in it. Just carry on saying what you're saying.
No, I got you. So I was just saying, man. At the end of the day, a woman is your greatest investment, and your goal is to make sure that this investment does well over time. You, as the man, are the investor in this woman, the manager of this particular venture that you're going down. And because you are the one that's in control of this, you need to best make sure that the history of this particular investment is good. So that way you have an overall opinion or idea as to what might happen down the road. Now, it might not be perfect, but you obviously want to make sure that the gains you get are positive, not negative. A lot of dudes will look at a woman's ass and titties and go, this is all I need. Because it satisfies this desire that I have, this lust. But lust is not something that you could measure or metric your entire existence on. Because we all know what coconut clarity is. And when you wake up out of that delusion, you might really be in a hairy situation with somebody that doesn't know how to financially balance a paycheck, doesn't know what it means to be a wife, doesn't understand how to be in a long-term relationship, doesn't have good connections with their family, has only ever known how to use the man, doesn't want to necessarily be there for you when you're sick, and if anything were to happen to you financially, is willing to dip at any moment. Those are not characteristics that you want to bring into a long-term relationship. It just doesn't make any sense. And like you said, there are certain women, because of their 304 mentality, that are going to trickle that into your relationship, and eventually they're going to show you who they really are. And when that happens, you're going to feel stupid. You're going to wish you went back.
What do you think men are currently doing wrong now today?
I think men are currently lost right now. Men are very lost. Men, because of what society is telling them, are lost. Society is saying that being a man, a traditional man, is a toxic role. That you being this leader is sexist. And so what it's doing is it's shaming men out of their natural ways of being and is doubling down negatives, which is making men weaker. And what happens when you've got a lot of weak men? Well, you then get a lot of strong women. But just because you've got a lot of strong women doesn't mean that these women don't want strong men.
Yeah.
So now you're creating a scenario where nobody's happy. And this is why you're seeing an increase in depression, an increase in unaliving, and an overall stress in the dating market as a whole. Hello.
Ollie Jenny.
Excellent. I like this man. I like this man.
I know. That's why I'm letting him speak. He's got a lot to say.
Well, I appreciate that.
I could save some for your podcast.
Arnie was like, No, don't worry. I've got lots of different questions for him for the podcast. Don't worry.
Yeah, I like the way he talks. You know what I like about him? He's straightforward and he's not insulting and disrespectful. And that's
Well,
what I like.
I appreciate that. My father raised me to always, at the end of the day, understand where your position is. Always respect another person's opinion, but at the same time, always defend what you believe in.
No, I understand that. And that's what I liked about him because earlier on, it kind of got to me a bit because...
Arnie, hey, that's the woman from Pearl's podcast. Actually, that's the woman from Arnie, from our own podcast, Arnie Jenny's podcast.
What woman?
No, they're talking about you. The comment says that's the woman from Pearl's podcast. She's talking about you.
Yeah, that's the woman from Pearl's podcast. Yeah, not from Aunt Jenny's podcast, from Pearl's.
I know.
No, I was watching it earlier, and me personally, I would have cut the girl off. It's good content, isn't it? But she was just arguing for the sake of arguing. She wasn't understanding nothing. Even when I said, what if you don't want to get married in the church? But 2 rings. She didn't understand she didn't want to understand the concept of 2 rings. She was just hearing ring, and you was just repeating yourself over and over again. So yeah, I understood that you lot were saying by her behavior, yeah, she was unintelligent. I understand that, but then it started getting insulting. That's what I didn't like. But this guy here, there's no F's, buts, and ins and that because she was dumb. She was acting dumb. She was acting unintelligent. The way she's going on, I thought she was a baby mother.
She's not. No, she's not. She's not.
I thought she was a baby mother because then to me it got personal. But then she put herself in the position of a baby mother because now she wasn't a baby mother, and I realized that. What was she going on about?
I was just saying to her, it's like she was arguing about
Nothing.
I just realized a lot of women don't have much value for themselves, and I place more value on them before I even know them than they have on themselves. And I'm like, no, you should think of yourself higher. And she's like, no, I shouldn't. I'm a babe, but no, you're a wife. No, no. And it's like, well, if you say that, then men are never gonna come and treat you like that. They'll treat you like whatever you think you are, right? And I try to, when I meet women or speak to women, I try to be like, why have you set the bar so low? Like, I don't understand why you haven't set the sights higher. And then this is
she was just acting dumb. She was acting dumb, and I'm sure there's something there about not arguing with dumb people. Because you'd already said what you had to say. You were over-explaining. You're explaining. And I just thought you got a button there, right? You got a button there. That's what you should have done. I wouldn't have bothered because she already made herself look stupid.
Hey, Black Spider, why do you think men in America do not want to be in relationships with women in the USA? I could probably tell you, and I'm from the UK, but what do you think?
Well, currently in
Passport bros, what's going on?
Currently in my country, there is a pervasive ideology of the hate of men from a deep standpoint, to the point where you've got people saying that the existence of men is unnecessary. This unnecessary existence, they believe, is because of all their problems in the form of the patriarchy. So when you have a system that's been around for as long as America has been, and it's been basically made out to be this demon, girls have set sights on completely annihilating the male leadership role and have deemed it to be a sexist and very toxic mindset. And if they were able to destroy said mindset, would solve all problems. Problem with that is that girls at the same time want a strong man that can provide, that can lead, and so on. So it's a very big, hypocritical, oxymoronic statement. So now, what you're running into is men who are traditional, women saying that traditionalism is both bad and good, causing issues for both the young and old abroad when it comes to the dating market. So Passport Bros came about because men said, okay, we're trying to walk away through MGTOW. That's not working. Now we have red pill knowledge. We understand your nature.
Sorry,
Guys, MGTOW, men going their own way. Just sorry for the people that don't know. Sorry, bro. Carry on.
Yes, no, it's okay. Because so you started off with MGTOW, men going their own way. Okay, they said we're just gonna ignore you. That wasn't enough. Because girls started saying that was an evil cult. Then Red Pill came about and said, okay, well, we're going to learn who you are and what you are. Oh, well, now these are men that are misogynistic. Toxic masculinity rings its head. Now you have passport bros on top of that. Now, not only do we know that we can go our own way, now do we not only understand your nature, but we understand our place. Now with passport bros, men seek out women in other countries that have cultures that are all about cultivating a male to female traditional relationship. Women in America are taught to be independent and strong, and that's okay. But everything comes at a cost. Everything comes at a cost. And when you cut the balls off a man and then try to tape them onto yourself, all you've done is kind of destroyed and castrated a system that you benefit from without even realizing it. Just to make that situation a little bit more complex than it should be, but still.
Or in the country as well, or just in the major cities? Is it in the towns or just in the? Is it in the country or just in the major cities? Because I find that where I am now, I'm getting like young people getting engaged and married, like under 25. It's like the more you come out of London, and like, if you go into Birmingham, you find it just getting to be like London. So is it like New York? It's like intense. That's what it's like. And
see, that's unfortunately, Auntie, the issue, right? Everybody goes to the cities. The cities change the ideologies of the country folk, and then they go out to the country and it spreads like a disease, right? Where you've got the major cities, mind you, they are not benefiting from empowerment. I don't need anybody kind of ideology. But they're spreading it, and it's slowly spreading throughout the country. Here in America, what it's done.
Throughout the world.
Well, that's because of the internet, right? The internet has made it so that way you can jump from one country to the next without there being any borders. So you've got this ideology being pushed across the planet, affecting all cultures. However, it's not as pervasive in other countries as it is here in America. And that's perverted by the law that we have here as well, which is very majorly supporting the female side of things and not trying to be quote unquote equal as they say they do.
Because I always find that when they talk about things in America, it's always like a whole heap times worse than in England.
Yes.
So you just came in the chat at the bottom here. Just introduce yourself and your thoughts on what we're speaking about.
So absolutely. So first off, my name's Rob Rui, and first off, thanks for having me on. You know, it's funny because Auntie Jenny, you know.
Okay.
You all know. Everybody knows. And Spidey, you know what's up. What's up, my friend? Nice to see you again. And you know what I have to say about all this, you know, is I agree with Spidey. You know, I'm in Orlando, so I'm in Florida. He's in New York, right?
Yes.
I've been fortunate enough in my life that I've been able to do a lot of different things and do a lot of different traveling and go throughout the United States, whether it's a small town, big city. And what we're seeing here today is just this complete castration of men. I haven't seen this kind of behavior ever in my life. I'm 42 now, going to be 43. And, you know, to go through your life and see the degradation of the ability to love has been so concerning to me. So much so that, you know, on my page, I'm trying to find solutions for these things to support men, women, children, and family. Because one of the things that is the direct assault right here is family. Children are being decimated every single day because what I'm seeing seems to be is women are having a difficult time pair bonding. They're having a difficult time going in for the long haul. And they're deciding, just like You know, if they wanted to get a new something to eat, they can go to Uber Eats and pick whatever they want. And, you know, it's one of the saddest things I've seen in a long time. But I also don't want to necessarily just talk about the doom and gloom of everything that's going on. I would say that there are solutions in here, because we know about the wall. We know about, you know, men hurting, women hurting, children hurting. The question is, what do we do about these things? How do we make a difference? How do we inspire others to make these changes? Some people we will never be able to reach, ever. They are too programmed. But there are people out there today, because I have met some good people. I've met some decent women, some decent men. But because, just like Spidey said, and Auntie, I've heard everybody say this, there's a programming going on today where it's acceptable to be as promiscuous as possible. It's acceptable to have as many terminations of life as possible. You know, it's a disgusting thing. So one of my theories is that men can fix the men and women can fix the women. That's why I've been watching Auntie and Pearl for so long, because I go, wait a minute, this is revolutionary. This is where it needs to be. The ladies can shame the ladies, because when we do it, it just doesn't work as well. So my thoughts on this are really aligned with you guys, but my goal is to actually find the solutions to be able to help men, women, and children and families get back together. And one last thing before I shut up for a second here. One of the things that I think has also been desecrated as well too is over the last several generations, not only has relationships been blown up to pieces, but I'm noticing that grandmothers don't talk with the grandchildren, grandfathers don't talk with the grandchildren, fathers don't talk with the nephews and nieces. So community has been destroyed completely. So in my plan, I would like to figure out, how can we get community together? How can we make us so that we can start to appreciate each other again and fight against this bullshit stuff that's going on, right? Because if it happened this fast over a 60-year period from the 1945, right? It's obviously potentially reversible. So that's what I would like to know. That's what I would like to collaborate on.
I'd like to have more youth clubs, more
I'm sorry?
libraries. They need more youth clubs, more sports groups, all those other activities.
Close them down.
That's what I mean. That's what's needed. He said he'd like to know what's needed, and I'm just saying that's what I've noticed.
They're closing them down. Yeah, they keep closing them down.
They're
Right.
Before, I know in England they had it was free sports. Libraries are closing down. Youth clubs are closing down, and I think that's what it is. You know, you go to a park now. I mean, I remember when I was in London, our local park, it had bowls, had basketball, they'd play cricket. Now you go there, there's nothing there. It's just a field with some keep fit.
Well, honestly, I don't think this is an issue that's going to be fixed within maybe 30 years or 40 years' time. It takes a while for ideologies to completely be changed and altered. It took about 60 years for this current ideology to come out of the 1960s, or maybe 70 or 80 years now. I'm not sure on my math. But overall, this issue is not going to be solved by sadly opening up clubs, because even if you open up those buildings, the people that go into them still don't appreciate them. And once somebody's been kind of mentally programmed a certain way, it's going to take them, unfortunately, their generation ending and a new generation beginning for new thought processes to begin. This is why I always say the videos that I have probably aren't meant for this generation. They might be viewed 100 years into the future or 40 years into the future. Maybe somebody will stumble upon one of my videos and maybe they'll start a little revolution, or maybe they'll figure out a better way of going. But my generation, because I'm in my 20s, my mid to late 20s, my generation is unfortunately kind of lost. It's done. The programming is set. Generation Z, kind of set. It's done. Alpha, it's starting to come about. They might be more susceptible to thinking about why certain thought processes may not be good. But it's going to take maybe another 4 generations to really fix this issue.
Right, let me say something first as well too, because I want to jump right in, because what you're doing is so important. Okay, what you are doing, what I am doing, what this gentleman is doing, what we are doing is so important, because there's a saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but there's a saying: a good man plants a seed for the tree he will never find shade under. So in us doing this today, and you're a superhero, bro, right? So props to you, right? So with that in mind, we need to continue this, because if words are powerful. If we continue to say that our generation, your generation, some generation is lost, or if we continue to say, oh, this is too high of a mountain to climb, right? That's why you're popular, Spidey. You can climb walls, man. You can climb walls, right? And we need to instill that belief into others that they can climb walls too. And any hurdle that comes their way, they can overcome these things. And we have to also know that in the real world, there are villains, right? There's Zaka and all those peeps, right? But you know what? You always persevere over them. And so can everybody else. I wish I had my hoodie on too, man. I got the lights, but I don't have my hoodie.
No, because
I'm trying to copy Spidey today.
No, because this is we're really Avengers Assemble and all of that. But listen to this, yeah.
Absolutely. I'll be Tony Stark, you know what I'm saying?
But the reason why I'm saying this, right, is because what you said about a man that plants tree for shade that he won't receive or won't be under, right? That's essentially what we're doing. So whenever people see, they're like, "Why are you speaking?" I'm speaking because I care. I care about women that are born yet. I care about girls that come in. I care about young men being taught, not having fathers around to teach them about some of the things. I also care that people don't have to go through certain things that we went through just in order to get the information. That's the whole process of people coming before you. So then when you come on the internet and you speak like this, particularly in a time when there's agendas and rhetoric trying to be pushed, you can be labeled all manner of things. Spidey, I don't blame you for your whole get up. It works, but I could also understand why you wouldn't want to have your face out there, particularly because of how things can be misconstrued and the rest of it. But what we do all independently and individually and all the different parts of it is very important, man. And I just appreciate meeting up with people, because it lets you know that actually I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not the only one that's like this.
No, definitely. We're building a theoretical bridge or a ladder that'll eventually lead to the building of a castle, which will lead to the building of a nation, and so on and so forth. Like he said, we're planting a seed, and this is why I hammer it home. I even made a video where I was talking to like my future son, if I ever have a kid or whatever, and I'm just like, your dad's doing everything he can right now, so please understand. but I digress though. Eventually there will be a change. Eventually there will be an understanding that certain things don't work. I don't like to be too optimistic. I like to be very on the ground when it comes to certain things. I'm from a military family, and my dad was a soldier, and my dad used to always say, there's those that follow the wind and there's those that follow their compass. Sometimes it's better to follow the wind. So my dad is very particular about certain things, and he always says, son, save the ones you can. Try to help the ones you want to save, but understand that it's not your fault. You can't save them all. Because if you can save enough, right, you can start to build a community which will eventually evolve into something more. It's just, unfortunately, you won't be able to see the fruits of your labor until maybe the end, or not even at all. But if it's
can I ask you a question real quick? Because you just you were talking about your father, and that right there just is amazing, right? And let me ask you a question. How important is it that you have access to your father, you can speak with him regularly, and that he can guide you throughout the world? How important do you think that is, just for young men and young girls in general?
Oh, well, I always say I'm lucky. I come from a nuclear family. My mom and dad are still together to this day.
Just like me.
I didn't live. See, the thing is, I'm not originally from New York City. I'm from another state. So coming out of that state here, I didn't realize there were so many people that didn't have what I had. Especially in our community, the Black community. So very lucky to have what I have. Very lucky to have a strong father in the home. Very lucky to have my dad always there for me.
I
Awesome.
find really strange.
Spider, you know, we have similar upbringings as well. My parents are still together, and you know, basically the same thing. And I not struggled, but I didn't really grow up it like when we grew up and how we grew up. All the families always together. Then maybe when we moved and started getting a bit older, you start having different friends. You start realizing about divorce and about this and all of that. And I think I can always tell, but I tend to able to tell the people that have been raised, that have the nuclear family, from the way you speak and from the way and your ideology and how you see things. It's quite versus a lot of times when men, Arnie has said this before, men that are raised by single mothers, they tend to come into the manosphere or the red pill space slightly different. You know what I'm trying to say to you? They tend to be, regardless if they want to admit it or not, they tend to be slightly a little bit more bitter or jaded or you know what I mean? Like, versus us who don't really tend to be like that. Even when you speak to women, even the way you speak, you're not someone that, you know, I know.
Acting butch.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I can see it and I like it because it just means that I start to, when I start to think, was he raised a single parent or was he? And they tend to play it right. And then with your one, I was literally thinking, I'm like, I want to ask him if his parents still together. And then you just came out with it. And I was like, yeah, I could tell.
You know, I love my dad didn't have a father. And so he wanted to create a family that he never had. And he always tells me, because I'm his first son, and my dad always wished for me to just be the best man that I can be. And he strived for that, you know, and I did everything that I would say my father would have wanted me to do and still do. And, you know, without him, I really don't know where I would be. But the reason why I bring up my father a lot is because my dad is a very logical guy. But I also learned this one thing, too. It's important to learn from your father and your parents, but you always have to be yourself. And if you want to evolve past where they are, you have to sometimes do what they're not willing to do. But I always know that my dad's logic is the basis of where I'm from. And, you know, when it comes to guys that do come in this space that happen to be raised by a single mom, I mean, I noticed it too. There's a little bit of, I don't want to use the word softness, but there's a certain pervasiveness to lean towards one side. And, you know, my thing is with this, at the end of the day, I am a man. And I have to do certain things within my capacity. And I have to live within the realism and the persuasive viewpoints that come from said realistic viewpoints. I can't falter. I can't fall. I have to get things done. And the only one that will do that is me. But that ideology wasn't instilled from some show. It was instilled from my father. So it's definitely very important. And my mother sometimes too, when she wasn't being a wild, but still.
But you see, what I don't understand is that my mum and dad were raised. I was raised with my mum and dad, and they got divorced when I was 12. But I always had my grandmother, my uncles, my dad. You know, I'm a grandmother, and my grandchildren, they've got their mum, their dad, their great grandmother, their grandmother, all still available, all active in their life. So for me, it's strange that I got like in the West Indies. You don't grow up with your dad, but you know. Even a single parent here, I find is totally different because it seems like single parents now, or baby mamas as you want to call them, the children don't have no interaction with any males or any females outside. If they don't see their dad, maybe they don't see their granddad, maybe they don't see their great granddad. So that's what I like about the village, because I'm so used to having everybody around. You know, maybe my dad wasn't there every day because him and my mum were divorced. Maybe he was just there every week. But there was an uncle. You know, I didn't know my grandfather, but funny enough, I knew my great-grandfather. You know, I knew my grandmother. My kids now, we've got pictures with my grandchildren with their grandmother, their great-grandmother. And everybody knows everybody. One grandparent might have them one weekend, I might have them one weekend, their granddad might have them one weekend, their dad might have them. And that doesn't happen now. even because I know that everybody thinks that single parents are dysfunctional. They're only dysfunctional when they're in a dysfunctional family, when there's not functional people around them. Because you don't hear any single parents talking about, oh, the child went to their dad and then the granddad come round, and you know, we're all fractured in my grandchildren's family, but I will meet up with the other grandparents and with the children. And they know that when they come to my house, there's no internet, there's no games that need nothing that needs a battery or that needs charging. Yeah, I want to make my pies and play in the dirt and maybe climb a tree.
It's unfortunately the loss of the community, the loss of the traditional community that once was the library for which a child would learn. And now all that's left is the internet and whatever society deems to be worthy of that child's knowledge base. And so it's not just a man versus woman thing. This is a societal governmental fight thing as well. There's levels to this. And
it's a breakdown of society.
It's a slow breakdown of society. And we are at the end of a historical part of crisis. I think there's like every 80 years, there's a shift. And I gotta bring up that part, but I know that we're at the end of a 20-year point within history where my generation is supposed to be the quote-unquote heroes that stand up to the end of a certain ideological fight. I got to bring that up. But basically, every 80 years, there's a shift in history where there's a beginning of peace and towards the end, there's chaos. Each generation born within those brackets has a particular job they must do. And I really do believe that with what's currently going on in our society, it's going to take heroes. It's going to take martyrs. It's going to take people who are willing to not just make money, but stand and fight this fight. It's going to take a lot, and it's going to take every single one of us, if not the entire manosphere, the people that are actually trying to do something to maybe push this toxicity that's evolving each and every one of our countries into something that it really shouldn't be. And it's slowly eroding us from the inside, and we're wondering why everything is falling apart.
Yeah.
You know, Auntie Jenny, you brought up something that is so keen, and you hit it right on the head there, Spidey. You know, community has been decimated. What her example just laid out for all of us here was a checks and balances. Yes, things aren't perfect. Dad still was in the life. There's divorce and stuff like that. But where she is, if you're out of line, grandma's gonna say something, grandpa's gonna say something, uncle's gonna say something, you know. And what we've done here in the States, and I'm sure it's happening like this in the UK and all of the Western world, what we've done is we've created this situation where people sit in their little boxes, you know, their apartments, their homes. They jump on the internet, and any bad idea that they have, they can get affirmed through the internet. Not only that, they will be lied to on a consistent basis. So, you know, Spidey, you're 100% right in terms of the cycles of how generational knowledge needs to be passed on in order to accomplish that goal that you were saying, because that chaos can be prolonged, right, if we have the lack of generational knowledge. And what we're finding today is that lack of generational knowledge, and that's actually what I'm trying to accomplish right now. You know, I back in the day, I owned a surf shop for a long time. I have multiple different business opportunities that I'm involved with. In addition to that, you know, I've got my 2 kids. I'm a divorced guy as well, too, you know, in this world. And, you know, I'm finding my way. I'm fortunate enough to have my father in my life and my mother in my life. My father was ranked number 2 in the nation for triathlons for his age group. The running joke is, why didn't you just push a little harder? Come on, you could have got number 1 at least once, right? But the bottom line is this, is that most people don't have the experiences that we have. They don't have access to this kind of knowledge. You know, I'm half Cuban, half Argentine. So a lot of my Cuban family I'm sure rock it in the same way as Auntie's family does. You know, my grandmother was around. Everybody was there. My aunt still hits me up to see what's going on. You know, my uncle, everybody pray for him. You know, he's going in for a heart thing here, but, you know, he's been doing his thing. And my cousins and everybody. So community is essential. What I'm trying to do personally is develop a community and a program where we can invite people in to learn different skills, and also, more importantly, just to be seen, heard, and have a chat, have an opportunity to talk, because a lot of us, we feel inaccessible to others, right? One thing that I noticed in terms of being real leaders in our space is one thing: we need to be pushing each and everybody's platforms. We need to be following each and everybody's platforms, and we need to be saying, look, check out Spidey, check out Rob, check out Auntie, check it out, everybody, right? And be adamant about it, because we have to put the faith in that some people are smart enough to know that we all have different nuances, we all are all different ages, but we do have one common goal, which is to make it better for relationships overall, between men, women, families, and children. I would agree. I would hope you guys would agree with that, right? Men, women, families, and children. That's the goal, right?
Well, I see mine. I see mine totally different. China, wake up. China. Do you remember I was saying to you that what I want to do once a month on a Sunday? Do you remember what I said to you? Around my house, what I said I wanted to do?
Yeah.
Where I'm coming from. Because what I actually said to China is that I don't like the internet. I don't like all this. I don't like YouTube. I don't like the podcast. He knows I don't like none of it.
Yeah.
I'm a British kind of person. And what I said to China that I want to do is, when I store in my house, I want to have like Sundays where everybody comes round once a month, and children are welcome. You know, I normally have it once a year for my neighbors and family and friends. But I said if once a month. Before we used to go around, I remember going around, my mum had an open house, uncles, aunties. My mum was always cooking. People come around, run out of tables, you get chairs, you sit on the floor. There was always children around playing together, you know, swapping stories with old people. You know, my nephew, when he was 5, he used to be sitting there and conversing with a 70-year-old. You know, and things like that. And I think, for me personally, that's what's missing. And I'd like to see everybody having like once a month, just getting together, even if you can't cook, and it means that somebody brings a meal, but get all the children, all the people together, and not talk about your problems. Talk about growing up. Do you know what, right? My nephew was surprised that Ludo was a board game. I had Ludo. I had a great big garden Ludo because he'd only seen it. He was surprised that was it Thunderbirds? And even Spider-Man. When I told him how old Spider-Man was, and I got an old Spider-Man up, he was like, Spider-Man's that long? And I said, yes. And then when I showed him Thunderbirds, we sat down and we watched Thunderbirds. He said, Auntie, do you know that you can see the strings on the puppets? And I said, we didn't care about the strings on the puppets. He said, but they don't even have strings now. They don't have puppets. And I said, but I want to show you how it was done. And just for the fact that he said, but you really got excited about this, and you can see the strings on the puppets. Things like that. You know, because there's some things that the children don't know about. I mean, I gave a boy, he was going to be 18, and I found a comic, a Spider-Man comic that was published the week he was born. And I couldn't believe that Spider-Man was so old. You know, he was so shocked. Yeah, and things like that I like to do. I like the children to come round. You know, domino. Before it used to be old people, I was teaching my grandchildren 3, 4, and 6 how to play dominoes. At the end of it, it was like, yeah, Glamour, you know we're gonna win because you're older. You're older, they're young. You know, and to have like adults sitting there and playing. When's the last time you played with a 5-year-old?
And you, Auntie, you know more than anybody. There's so much lessons that go down in that game, other than just playing dominoes, right? There's patience, there's understanding, there's rule building, and there's all this stuff. And you know, another thing I noticed, and I love your.
What I learned to do is there's bitchiness because she's like her father. What she learned was to block the game. She would just learn that, yeah, there's 8 of that. I'm gonna block it and sit back. Nobody else can play. I played last,
Mm.
but at least she knows how to block a game of dominoes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's missing, because everybody talks about a community, but everybody's sitting there on their internet talking about community. But I find that some people, the internet is their community, and that's what I don't like. I want to see people meeting with people. I want to see people open up their gardens, having barbecues once a month. Invite people around, bring something around. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely.
I'm not that person. I can't hug China. Look where he is. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying. The heart is something that we definitely need to bring back. The issue is that the pull of the internet is so strong and it's so pervasive that it's going to be very difficult to try and make that a quote-unquote attractive idea. Obviously, it's going to be a continuous thing of showcasing why it's important. But again, I definitely feel like it's going to take a couple of generations for this realiving of certain traditional things coming about.
Oh, it's going to take it's going to take generations for it to become the norm. But I'll tell you how you get them with the children. That's because the children now are so spoiled. That you say things you want to do to grandma, they give their parents hell. And nowadays, there's not a lot of places where the parents can go, let their children roam free, where they can sit down, have a meal, and have a drink. And if you invite the parents round, then you know what? I hate when I go somewhere and they say no children allowed. If there's no children not going. Where there's no children allowed, I'm not going. When people come to my house, they know bring your children. If you don't bring your children, the child's got to be sick on another appointment. But other than that, bring your children. And that's the way to go. Leave with the children. I ain't got time for adults. I really ain't got time for adults. I've only got time for children. Because I always think that once you're in secondary school, you're going to be hard to turn. I'm working on the younger people. I'm working on the primary school children and the babies and things like that to show them. That's where I'm coming from, because I've got to work on my grandchildren. Because I didn't understand that when my son said, "Mum, can you have her every?" I used to have my granddaughter every weekend, and I remember my son saying, "I want you to have her every weekend because I don't want to turn out like them people." And I never understood it. And now she's 6 years old and she can cook. Like he can cook at 5.
Right. Skills.
Life skills, that's right. Life skills.
The skills. I'd like to have a big warehouse with a kitchen. I get all the kids in. And imagine. You know why? Because a lot of the parents don't know how to cook. So I'm gonna teach Naomi's son how to cook.
What?
You're Naomi. You're Naomi.
What? I'm not a baby mama.
No, she said that you're the guardian of something.
I'm not a baby mama. I'm Naomi who co-parents. That one, yeah.
Right.
Says she's the guardian of some spiritual something or the other.
Honey, she's just another one of these spiritual lighties about homosexual energy and Reiki, and they just I can't stand these moon and galaxy.
That's it. Rulers of the galaxy. That's what she says.
I can't stand them.
You know what, right? If you notice, I'm dealing with her. I'm teaching her some. I'm teaching.
She's putting it in. She's putting the work. I like it.
Because
You know, it's funny. What you were just talking about, though. You know, over here with the one thing I noticed, because recently I kind of ran into this problem a little bit, is when I'm trying to get to the children. I noticed that there's a lot of single mothers out here, like a ton, right? And one of the initiatives that I tried to do was put together like a little football game, like soccer, right? But football, right? You know what I'm talking about? And also a little baseball game, or I want to do surf lessons, right? And what I notice here is that in the mom space, they get excited about it for a little bit, but when a man goes in to be a man in front of their children, they bolt. They bolt because they don't want that. They don't want that in their life. They don't want a man to come in and be like, you did that wrong. Let's go ahead and do this right. You know, good job, but let's do this. And there is no second place, or you know, there's only one first place. You know.
Huh?
Black Spider, what's those cards you got over there?
Oh, nothing. Just looking at stuff, you know, just going over some things I've got written down on some stuff.
Okay.
He's pulled them out about 3 or 4 times. I was looking and seeing. I was trying to see.
What you doing? Which card we doing over there, man?
And one of my edits that I do whenever I'm reviewing a video, I'll actually play Yu-Gi-Oh cards to battle the feminists with, and you know, I've got cards.
Videos. I love his videos. They're dope.
They knew what it was already. It was me that was late, man. Sorry. I was like, "What are you doing, man?" I'm like,
I didn't know what it was.
Cards, and I basically, you know, when I make a video and I'll see a girl saying some crazy stuff, I'll play my trap. They activate my trap card, and my trap cards range from equality. I've got a trap card called "Pay Your Bills," another trap card where you owe me $20, and basically.
Because I noticed you took them out when I was talking. So which one did you pull out for me? I want to know now.
Rewind the tape.
I didn't pick it. I didn't pick anything just yet.
That's so funny.
So when you're coming down, Spider-Man, when you're coming down, what are you coming down to do when you come?
He's coming Arnie's coming to swing from big man.
I want you to cook for him.
Huh?
Gotta cook for me.
No, he's gonna come down. We'll go get some food, man. I'll show him.
No, go get some. Cook for the man.
What do you mean? He wants to be outside, dude.
Spidey, you're about to get some good food, man.
Well, you know, I don't know. I'm going to the UK because I just kind of want to just see what the UK is about, and I'm always telling people to travel the world. You know, I want to see what I get 36% of my lineage from over there, so I might as well just go over there and see what's up.
There's nothing here, bro. I don't know why you're coming here, bro.
Listen to him. You need to come up in the country. You need to come in the country. Come out of London. Yeah, tell China to bring you to Coventry or Manchester.
There's just poverty. There's nothing there.
You know where I'm coming from. Yeah. Tell China to bring you to the country.
When I'm in London this weekend, I'm hoping that I'll run into something cool or something. I don't really go when I travel. I don't go with a plan. I kind of just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens.
Trying to take you on a journey to Manchester by Coventry, show you a bit of the countryside.
Yeah. All these things, don't worry. When you come down on Friday, on Sunday we're shooting it. Just give me a chat once you're down. I'll give you time to.
Well, Sunday, I'm gonna be free the whole day, bro. So I mean, because if not, I'm just gonna be walking around London trying to find something else to do.
Shoot on China. What days you're shooting?
No, I'll link up, man.
What day you shooting China?
We're gonna smoke one on Sunday.
I don't smoke. I don't smoke.
He's an army guy.
Oh, okay.
Disappointment.
We definitely got to film, though, man. We definitely got to film. I'm always because I'm going to be filming out there already, so it'd just be cool to do that.
And Spidey, I want to hear what your perception of the difference between the UK scenario versus the US scenario when you come back. I can't wait to see that story. That's gonna be sick. I can't wait. That's gonna be dope. And by the way, your stuff is so crisp and so nice. Good job, Spidey.
I appreciate that. I put a lot of work in that. What were you saying, though, bro?
No, I'm just saying. It's just basically it's all messed up everything. But anyway, welcome to the UK, though. Come on.
Don't tell me that, bro. Is it like New York City? Is it like New York City? Is it gonna be I don't know.
Nah, it's gonna be cool, man. That's how we are in the UK, man. We just always cuss in the UK, man. That's how it is. But
that's gonna be very odd because I don't really curse much.
No, don't listen to him. What you do, right? I'll show you around London, and then you can spend the night with China.
That would be cool. I'm going to be in a hostel. in like, I don't know, it's like in the middle of where London Bridge is. But I mean, that'd be cool.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? We're not too far from one of the street. It's fine. No way. Once you're down, just message me and we'll patch you in. We'll try and.
Well, I'll let you know on Saturday when I arrive, man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all. That's all good. So yeah, man.
Let me
Yeah,
try
guys.
and cook some food.
Yeah, Arnie, cook some food. Yeah, thank you to everyone that jumped in the live tonight, man. I appreciate. What time is it over there? What time is it over there?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
10:21.
What PM? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 7 PM for you and 10:21 PM for you.
Yes.
3:21 a.m.
For us, it's almost 3:30 in the morning. So.
Get some
All right.
sleep.
Well, with that in mind, I'm actually going to be getting out of here. But I just want to thank you guys a lot for having me come on. Anybody's into it, check out my Instagram at Rob Rui now. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things, and I can't wait to see what happens this weekend because I know there's going to be a little bit of fire made over there.
It's there already, man. We're gonna make it.
Yo, and if any of you guys like drum and bass, I make that stuff too. So check it out. Headchange_DMB. What?
Hey, you know what to do? Just give me a follow. When I come off here, I'll follow you back and I'll check out your stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Peace, y'all. See you soon.
All right,
Cheers.
bro.
That was good. It's been a good live, Auntie. It's been a pleasure.
I like him.
Huh?
It's nice to meet you. I've watched a lot of your videos, Auntie. I've seen you all on basically every single platform I'm on, and I just want to say I appreciate you and your way of thinking and the way you debate. I just want to say very great, and thank you so much for putting more logical reason, common sense into a lot of these younger women in my generation.
Well, thank you very much for the compliment, young man.
I try.
I still think China should cook you food.
He doesn't have to do that.
Texas Desert Sailor said he wanted it. Texas Desert Sailor, I'm gonna give you just, hey, Texas Desert Sailor, just quickly, just come in, say hi and bye, because I'm giving you that moment because that's what.
That's illegal.
Texas Desert Sailor. Texas, sorry, we haven't got long before it cuts out. Next time we'll jump in on the live and we'll get you back in tomorrow. Just give us a quick shout out, Texas. Sorry about that.
No, that's I appreciate it. I was actually going to comment on something way back about how it all kind of intersects.
Yeah.
Back started in the 50s, but we can save that for another pod. Good to see you again, Spade. I didn't know you're heading to the UK.
Yeah, man. I just go to random places because I get bored sometimes.
You mean Spider-Man Home? I saw it. I saw the movie already. That's why he was in Europe. I saw it. You're basically doing the end. I know how this ends. Mysterio. I know how this goes. I've watched this already. Like you're basically just.
You should have done. It's a pity that you can't take him to Amsterdam and show him the windows.
Well, the windows.
No. I don't think Spidey's ready for that, Auntie. No, he's not.
He's ready to eat your experience. I'm not saying go in, I said show him the windows. To see things.
But yeah, sorry, Texas. I want to try and get one more person in Texas before we go. Yeah, appreciate that. Bro.
See you around Texas.
Take care, Spidey.
Let me try and get one more person before this gets. I got loads of requests coming in now, but I'm just trying to. But I'm just. I think Nikki was trying to get back in. Can we get Nikki in before we get out? Hey, Nikki, I'm trying to get you back in.
Hi, I just wanted to say hi, and I've been watching you guys all night, and I want to say this was a really good podcast a really good live from before, because we were going at it in the beginning, just a little bit, but I just want to say hi. Auntie, I love you. You're amazing. I watch every video, and I love it. And Spidey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
We think a lot alike as well, so. But you guys have a good night.
You have a good night.
All right, cool. Thanks, Nick. Who else can we? Is there anyone else that was trying to get in before we get out of here? Oh, you guys are all jumping in.
Oh, you want me to jump out?
No, because they're trying. I think they're trying to say. I think they're trying to speak to you as well while you're here.
He's a superstar. You're a superstar. They won't talk to you.
I'll keep open here because I think they're all trying to just say, everybody wants to say one thing before we come out of here. Hey,
What's
Hey, how
up?
you doing, BSG?
What's up, barbarian?
Been doing my thing, man. It's been hell lately, you know?
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man.
It is what it is. I'm trying hard to fucking quit vaping, man. It's just, I've
It's
been
not good for your
smoking since I
lungs,
was
bro. Don't do that.
Get off the vapes, man. Get off the vapes, man. They're not good for you.
I know, man.
But is there anything you want to say, though, bro?
Earlier, like what you guys were saying, where how children are becoming separated from their parents, their family, and all of that. And I think that a lot of that is tied into and attached to the idea of Marxism, because what I've noticed with Karl Marx is that his philosophy is kind of like separating children from their parents. So therefore, who's raising the children?
State.
And I see that going on in America. You see children being raised by their phones, by the education system, which is also owned by the government, the Department of Education, owned by the government in America, originally started by John D. Rockefeller, and I think that's part of the reason why a lot of children are growing up, and they're kind of like, fuck you, mom, fuck you, dad, I'm not listening to you, and then they travel down a dark path of disaster. Their lives just end up.
It's that slow creep, bro. It's that slow communism creep.
But you know what? The children nowadays, especially in the UK, they got too many laws. Like, you're not even allowed to smack your children. You're not even to, like, talk harshly to them. But with me, I got that look. My grandchildren, I don't care who you are. Call the police. I'm looking at you hard. I'm telling you straight, shut up or I'm going
Give
to
them the
slap
death stare, huh?
And they know. They know. Their mum's even got a video of me getting into my car saying, yeah, I'm coming. And she says that's enough just to play for them. Like, look, grandma's in her car. She's coming now, and that's it. Tell her, don't come. I'm behaving myself. And I think sometimes what you need, you need a good community around you.
Oh, you do. And I don't see that anymore nowadays. I just see a shitload of polarization, and it's also being fed by the media and and the abandonment of tradition, which works, but people want to make tradition look bad somehow. It's just I don't
It's
know.
still benefit from the said tradition. It's all funny, man.
I think we all should start our own little villages, start our own little communities. Yeah, we should.
The government would be hunting and burning those villages down immediately.
We should start with one house at a time. Each of us should start by having our friends round once a month and then letting them have their friends round their house once a month and spread it like that. Where children are welcome and you can bring your granny, you can bring your great old granny, you can bring anybody, bring the wheelchair, bring them, and they're all welcome. I think that's where we need to start. Because too many people are separated. You might have your own little village. Everybody's got their own little village. Start it up. Start it up.
That would
cook food. Everybody loves food. Cook food. Join together. People can't afford now to have a 3-course meal, but everybody can bring something and cook together and fill their bellies. That's what everybody loves food. That's the common denominator. Everybody has to eat. Everybody loves good food. So cool.
Everyone got to eat, man. So on that note, I'm gonna bring the live to an end so it doesn't cut out on us. I want to keep it as clear. I just want to shout you guys for coming. Shout out to Barbarian, obviously, who's coming in. Auntie, it's always a pleasure when you come in. You bring that auntie vibes into the chat. With your light on, I always force you in. Spider, Black Spider, the man, you've definitely come today and you brought something completely different to the chat. We appreciate you for coming through. I followed you back. I look forward to getting you on the show this weekend. Make sure you travel safely and get to the UK, man. We're going to be having Black Spider on the Mandem's Voice. It's going to be, it's going to be
cool. Playing JetBlue.
But JetBlue, look, and I already had a really good show planned already. You just come just to add a little spider to it. You know what I mean? So it's going to be,
man, it's going to be dope, fantastic.
It's going to be dope, yeah. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Good night. Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So, yeah.
shout out to everyone. Auntie's just calling me as my as I'm speaking to you guys.